Hey everybody, what's going on? KSA Kris here, Real Estate Blitz. Want to do a quick one for you. So we had something happen in our office twice in 1 week, and it's funny because when we watched it happen, it was with agents that haven't experienced this before, and it is just destructive. So we figured we would talk about it. What happens when you go on an appointment with a motivated seller and all of a sudden they just basically either black hole you or decide to go with somebody else? How do you deal with it? What do you do? What did you do wrong? And that's a question that comes up quite a bit. And here's the thing. We've been doing this for a while, and the first thing I would tell you, if you've experienced this, is it happens. It happens. If it's a cash deal, it happens. We went on a cash appointment about a month or so ago, and it sort of happened there, and then we fixed it. But we sit down, guy listens to our price, yeah, ready to go, and I'm excited, okay, cool, so let's do some paperwork. Well, I need to talk to, we want to just have the moment to talk it over, all right. Next thing you know, we find out that he's planning on signing a contract with somebody else and basically fielded out our number. So on certain deals, whenever possible, it's not that we pressure people. I'm not a big fan. I know there's a lot of gurus out there and say, well, I don't leave until they sign the contract and they do the paperwork. I'm not a fan of that. I think there's ways to persuade people. There's ways of educating people so they make an educated decision. But I think when you go in there like a predator with the wrong mindset, just me personally, that's what makes people think that real estate agents or investors are scammy and they suck. So I think for us, it's always going in with the right mindset. We're showing up to help somebody, whether it's a cash deal or whether they're looking to sell or renovate to sell. And if we're going to give them, we should be giving them what they're asking for. We should be listening. Now, the two deals I'm going to talk about that happened last week, or what day is it? It's Friday, so this week. This is 100% because we didn't listen. We didn't listen when we were in the appointment. If we would have listened, then would have never ran into any issues. So, first deal on this one in particular. Show up to an appointment, great freaking appointment. Killed it, absolutely killed it. They were planning on interviewing multiple agents, which we run into almost at every listing appointment. Every listing appointment, we're pretty much at a minimum going to be competing against the same two people. There's three people total in this one small area that we work in, one of the areas we work in. And it's guaranteed that we're going to be competing with two of the other top producing agents in this area. But sometimes, they'll want to interview 12 or 15 different people. So, we go in there, even if they don't tell us, going in with the assumption that they're going to interview multiple people, and that's fine. And in fact, I personally think that if you're trying to sell off an asset and you're trying to maximize your money, you shouldn't go with the first or second person that you are just exposed to. People do it all the time, and that's one of the truths I always tell our agents. What's the truth? How do people pick their real estate agent? The truth is, the majority pick their real estate agent because it's the first or second person that they were exposed to. That's it. And then all of a sudden they're like, well, that's my agent. But you don't even know if they're any good. So you just met them somewhere and you don't even know if they've produced. You don't know if they've ever sold a home. And that's one that always blows my mind. So they've never sold a home. You have a $900,000 house and you're like, yeah, give it a go. That's just weird to me. But, everybody's got their thing. So, for the people that are interviewing multiple agents, we're going to be in competition. The way we look at it is this is what we do. When somebody works with us, we're very clear. This is what we do. This is the service that we provide. And here's how we're going to get your house sold. We're not talking about any other house. We're going to talk about your house, and we go in prepared. But the one reason why, and I would say well over 90% of the time we get the listing. Every time we haven't got the listing, especially when we walked out of the appointment and we felt like we absolutely killed it, we're like, yeah, we killed that appointment, looking forward to selling that house, can't wait for them to call us. And we don't get the listing. A majority of the time it's because we weren't listening, and I cannot express that enough. So let me tell you these two. The first one, I'm not going to say the address, I was going to say where it's at. But anyways, beautiful house. We show up, kill the appointment, and it's what we consider a quick sale out here. It's in the low 400,000 range. Beautiful house. It's like a Pinterest house. There were some challenges with it, but it was super cool. And, they call us up that same night and they say, hey, we did interview that other person we said we are going to interview, but we're going to go with you. Send us a contract. We'll do it by DocuSign. We're like, fantastic. So we send a DocuSign and, we figure, hey, they're in. We're going to get a contract back and we're going to start getting to work just like we said we would. So we do our other work because usually we don't offer up extra stuff or extra labor until we have a contract. But we figured, they're doing a contract, so we're going to do the extra steps that we said we would do in the appointment. We'll just send it over now. So we did. And I just had one of our agents come in a second ago and we're like, yeah, this lady, it was for sale by owner, and she wanted me to look up this, that, and the other. I says, did you schedule an appointment? Are you going to go see her? She says, no. So you're going to do free work, and it was for sale by owner, so she's asking you to find out all the pricing and do all the labor for her. And you're not going to sit down face to face with her, and you're just basically just going to give her free information so potentially she can go and list the house again as a for sale by owner by herself. Is that what you're saying? And she's like, ah. So normally we aren't going to do, because it's a lot of work. If you're a real estate agent, you get it. It's a ton of work, right? So a lot of the stuff that we do in order just to prep the house right after we get the listing contract, it's probably another 2 to 3 hours worth of work just to put together a plan of actions, share folders, get everything in motion and prepared for all of the marketing, material to be created. So we send that off, and then we didn't get a contract the next day. Then we get we're like, all right. So we call them later on, and they didn't answer. And we know, they're traveling. There's a lot of stuff. They live here, but they, go and they commute up north. So, we left a message, and we're like, okay, we're still good, Then the next day, no contract, and we call again, send an email this time. And then the following day, we get an email back that says, yeah, we've decided to go with somebody else. But this is what's cool. They actually replied to the email and told us why they decided to go with somebody else. It's very rare when that'll happen. Usually people will just say, they won't even tell you they're going with somebody else. They just black hole you and then they fall off the earth. So they brought up one specific thing that came up in the appointment where they asked a question. Now, we thought we had answered that question well. We thought we had completely annihilated the objections to that question, and the question was real simple. How long are we going to be in contract for you, with you, to list and to get the home sold? And we said, traditionally we do it for 6 months. And she says, well, okay, or they said, great. We're actually looking for something around 3 months. And I said, well, we can do 3 months. It really comes down to the home. It comes down to how much money we're investing into it and how much energy. This home in particular, because of the price point and because of the energy that we're going to be putting into it, which it isn't not, a ton, we believe it'll sell in 30 days because we believe with our marketing we'll get it sold in 30 days. Tell you what, we'll absolutely do it for 30 days or for 3 months. And then we just kept cooking through the listing appointment. We should have stopped and really asked them questions. We should have asked them where are they at? Why three months? Why this? Why that? The people so this is a key. I tell all of our agents the same thing. The person asking a question in a conversation is actually the person that's in control of the conversation. We didn't ask questions. We just said, well, this is what it is, and then kept cooking. That was important to them. And they brought it up again momentarily within the listing appointment. Here's the thing, if they brought it up twice, we should have just stopped everything and gone down that rabbit hole until we knew and they knew that we answered everything that they could have possibly wanted to be answered. Because here's the thing, when I got that, I'm like, we said that, but he felt, because we had hit on it multiple times, and it was in the contract that we left with them, everything else, that we were really pushing for it to be 6 months. But we didn't really explain that, no, you want 3 months? Is that what you're looking for? Look, we will do 3 months for you. We should have just said it. We were going to put it in the contract. We are going to do 3 months. That's what it is. And why? Where you at? This, that, and the other. Ask questions. We didn't do it. We didn't qualify it. So that was the first deal. We lost that deal and went to one of our competitors. Good on them. They did the right thing. And that was ours to lose. And you know what? That's part of the business. And hopefully you grow from it. So hopefully you can learn something from it. So the second deal was actually one of the agents on the team. He's been in the business for 5 years, top producing agent. And he has been a top producing agent as a buyer's agent. He's only done one listing his entire 5 years. He came to our team and we said, hey, you've been in the business 5 years, man. You're super smart. You need to start doing more listings. Right now he's got 7 listings inbound, which is really cool. But this one in particular, I went on the appointment with him. And we show up at the house, beautiful house, really cool, at a smoking price point. But something was just weird to me. Like when me and this agent were sitting in the driveway. I'm like, what is that land right there and who owns it? He says, well, it's not this. This is where it's at. So we meet the owner. We start walking around. And he says, yeah, check out this over here. I says, well, that's interesting. So is that part of the house? He says, yeah, it's part of the house. That's interesting. Is it maybe a second parcel? Do you know if it's like a completely different parcel? No, that's actually part of the house. And then I'm looking at the paperwork. I'm looking at the county paperwork. I'm like, this might actually be a completely separate and second APN. And there's two wells on that property. And it's a big size property. Interesting. We'd like to do some more research on that. So anyways, long story short, we're running down. Great freaking listing appointment. Fantastic listing appointment. And we educate them. We do our research. We go back for a second sitting. And it wasn't me. It was actually Kim. My wife went with Don for the second sitting to sit down and do paperwork and everything. And now this is the first thing that we did that didn't work out well. We like to do appointments where all of the decision makers are at the first appointment. The first appointment, it was only the husband. It was not the husband and wife. So both decision makers weren't there. So the conversations that we had with our husband were not the conversations we had with the wife. And now it was, she felt left out on the second appointment. She felt like there were things that were talked about and she wasn't included. It turned into kind of like a spite situation. Second one, we did a ton of work leading up to this. And we gave all of that work to this guy, which was to lock in the appointment. And, is what it is. But we told him what we told him. So then, his wife decided that they wanted to interview a different agent, one of our competitors, one of the three. And, which it's great. She wants to go with this other guy because, again, I told you, she was left out. She wants to go with this other guy in this, but the husband's like, there's something, I don't like the fact that he's decided, traditionally 3% to the buy side, and it's important because out here, somebody's going to bring the buyer, and we want to make sure that the buyer's agent is well compensated for doing that action to make sure the house gets sold. That's kind of the beauties of being a listing agent, that you have all of these other agents working for you, bringing you people that are going to help buy the house that you're selling. And then we do 3% to the listing agent. Now, our terms are negotiable on this house in particular. The way we look at it when we negotiate our split, and our last broker's like, you will not take anything less than 6%. And everybody's got their thing. It's just not something we do. I look at it as how much time are we investing, how much money are we investing. If this house in particular, both lots separate, the land by itself, because we just sold the parcel very close by, it took us about 2 weeks to sell it for about $150,000. So, okay, not a ton of energy, and we're really not going to spend hardly any money, probably about $200, well, really $400 to market the property when it's all said and done. So very minimal invested, very little energy. So do we have to do it at 6%? Everybody wants to do it at 6%, but we don't need to, so we don't. The house, if it's by itself in its own separate parcel, it's about $450, somewhere around there, or maybe it was $475, somewhere around. So again, it's still under the $500,000 price point. Guess what? That's a quick sell. That's a quick sell house here. So anything under $500,000 is going to be sold within 30 days. Ideally, it'd be in a couple weeks with the appropriate marketing. So same thing. Do we have to do 6%? No. So the husband didn't like the fact that this guy, he was, instead of doing a 3 and 3, 3 to the buy, 3 to the sell, he was going to do 2.5 to the buy and do 3.5 to the sell. And again, we planted seeds that we're not really investing a whole lot of time or energy into this. You have a fantastic house. It's going to sell relatively quickly. We're still going to do a ton of marketing. This is what we're going to do. But that's stuff that we pay for. And the other agent said, well, since I'm paying for it, I charge 3.5%. And it's a smart angle, I guess. It's a great way to recoup your costs and maybe make a little extra money. So good on him as an agent. But the husband didn't like it. The wife didn't like the fact that we would not go to the county courthouse to actually find out if the land parcel was buildable. Here's the thing, we never said that we wouldn't. What we said is, when it comes to liability, every buyer has their time for due diligence. What we can do is go through our title rep, who will also go to county and say, yes, it is or isn't. Let them have that liability, right? We can still pull the information from county, not saying that we won't, but at the end of the day, it's up to the buyer to do that due diligence. We'll say, this is what we've done, but you need to do your due diligence. So because we didn't take the time to educate them on what that meant, they got confused. And the other guy said, I'll take care of all that for you. I'll go to the county. I'll make sure it's taken care of. Now here's the thing. We said the same thing, just in a different way. But because we didn't explain it, they were confused because they don't do real estate every day. They don't do real estate every day. And that's where a lot of real estate agents get lost. They think, I'm just going to start spouting off all the MLS and SELM and this and the other, and they just start spouting off all these acronyms. And then the client's just sitting there going, uh-huh. And then they wonder why they didn't get the deal. We did not listen to them, and we did not explain and educate them on exactly what we were going to do and how. And then that became a point of contention. And that's why we probably weren't going to get the listing. Because they said, yeah, we're going to end up listing with this other person. And so the agent that was running this deal, Don, he's awesome. Don talked to me yesterday. Sorry, there's like a little bug or something. Don talked to me yesterday and he says, so what do I do? I says, well, are they under contract? Did they sign with him? He says, no, they have not signed with him. I says, get relentless, baby. Call him back. You know what the objections are. Go and annihilate the objections. You know the husband likes you. Annihilate the objections, and then go back and say, because of the amount of money that we're investing into the property and the amount of time, we'll do it at 5%, and we'll still get 3% to the buy side. And sure enough, it looks like he saved the deal. 2 deals off of 1 listing appointment. So, long story short, when it fell apart, it destroyed him because he had never experienced that before. And that's what this video is really about. So what do? First off, learn from it. Second off, don't beat yourself up. It happens. Nobody's loyal to you. Nobody loves you. And I think that's why I get really frustrated. I don't know if I've ever done a video on my views. Yeah, I have. On my views on, especially on buyer side. Do a buyer contract with me so you can mentally chain them to you. And here's the thing. If you're really good at what you're doing, you shouldn't have to do a buyer contract. That's just my personal opinion. But, yeah, well, I lost somebody. Okay, so let me get this right. How many people have you closed with? Is that the only person you've lost because of no buyer contract? Was that person weird to begin with, and did you have a crappy relationship with them? The odds are yes, yes, and yes. And if that's true, then why are you forcing everybody else to be mentally caged to you? Maybe you should just become a better agent. But everything's your own. So long story short, become a better agent. He let it emotionally destroy him. Like it put him down. He was depressed. He was unhappy. He was really upset about it. But here's the thing. That's part of the business. It's going to happen. It doesn't mean that you're not good. It doesn't mean that you just screwed the pooch. It means try to learn from it. Try to figure out what you did wrong. Adjust. And keep your pipeline so full, like he did right now. He's got 7 listings that are inbound. Keep your pipeline so full, it doesn't matter. It's like, look, I learned something from it. I'm not going to be for everybody. I go on listing appointments, and I know within 10, 15 minutes, you know what? You guys don't like me. You're not going to like me, and that's okay. That's okay. They don't have to work with me. They can interview whoever the hell they want, and just accept the fact that you're not going to get every deal. You want to try, but you're not going to. Don't let it destroy you. Go out there and find another one. Anyway, so that's all I got for today. Rambled on for about 18 minutes here in a couple seconds. Appreciate it. Always keep listening. Do me a favor, like, share, comment. Go check out our YouTube page. If you're seeing this on YouTube, go check out our Facebook page, Real Estate Blitz. Appreciate y'all. Thank you very much. And I am out of here. Talk to y'all later.